Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon. Can we have some order, please? Yusuf, Mr. Mansouri. It's $20 fine for talking in class. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to our distinguished guest, David Smith, Federal Member for Bean and Right at Home representatives who have all the answers that you might have for them, questions that you might have for them. Thank you for taking the time to come here today. We are here today to unravel the challenges of navigating the aged care minefield and accessing the Muslim-sensitive in-home aged care services. The new management of CIC, spearheaded by the President, Ilyas Rahman, is addressing issues facing the Muslim community across many facets, and aged care is one of my weak points after my family went through the nightmare negotiating care for the elderly as my father approached end of life. As you might be aware by now, the 2021 Intergenerational Report made some sobering predictions about the challenges our aging population will pose to Australia's health and aged care system. The IGR project that projects the number of people aged 65 and over will more than double by 2060, reaching 25% of the population. This will put a huge strain on the health and aged care system, as we will need to provide care for more older people with complex health issues. More importantly, the Muslim community desperately requires culturally sensitive aged care services, which does not exist and will be addressed today. So we're talking about aged care Muslim persons to look after the aged care, Muslim food for the aged care, and also the issue of navigating through the aged care minefield. Also of importance is the recruitment, training and employment of qualified aged care people from our community. This too will be briefly addressed. Please give a very warm welcome to the team from Right at Home who will answer all your questions and help you navigate the aged care minefield. Before they come on, I'll ask David Smith to say a few words about the aged care. David?
Thank you, Arif, and thank you to the CIC for hosting this really important and timely seminar. And firstly, I'd like to acknowledge that we are meeting here on the land of the Ngunnawal Ngambri people, people who have a connection to this country for tens of thousands of years. And we have an opportunity in probably just a month and a half's time to right a couple of wrongs with a referendum, which provides us with the opportunity to recognise our First Peoples in the Constitution, as well as ensuring a people who, up until 1967, weren't even counted in Australia as part of our censuses as to ensure that they actually have a voice, that they're actually heard. So, and I'd invite anyone who's able to be part of that campaign for reconciliation for our First Peoples to take that opportunity. But to the topic at hand, what an important issue, and I caught up with Farah earlier this week, and we knew that this was an issue that was starting to emerge before the intergenerational report, but the intergenerational report has really put a focus on the challenges that we're going to have with both the ageing of our community and the need for extraordinary increases to the workforce that actually ensures that all Australians get what they deserve, which is to be able to age with respect and dignity. My parents have gone through, have had care provided to them through the aged care sector here in Canberra, and I have to say our family has been incredibly fortunate in terms of the standard of care, but I'm glad to be part of a government that has realised a couple of things. One is firstly that aged care workers deserve to get paid more, that they're fundamentally underpaid, so I guess one of the first decisions of the Albanese Labor government was to support a 15% pay increase across the aged care sector. Secondly, I guess we realise it's important to invest in the skills across aged care too, and ensure that there's access to nursing services across every shift in every aged care facility. But one of the real challenges we have, and particularly in Canberra that's emerging, is understanding we as a community are much richer because we've become a much more diverse community in the last 20 years. But with that diversity comes some challenges in terms of the way we provide services. One of the most important issues for any level of care or access to government services is ensuring that you can be understood. And to be understood requires a greater language proficiency across our services, understanding that the increasing numbers of Canberrans that are multilingual and often will be most comfortable with languages other than English. So ensuring that there's access so that you can be heard, because if you can't be heard, it's difficult often to get the care that you deserve. And I guess one of the stark recommendations coming out of the Royal Commission report into ageing was around the quality and standard of food across aged care services too. And I guess on the one hand, it's not just about quality, it's, as Ara said, there has to be a sensitivity to the different dietary requirements of different parts of our community. Sometimes that will connect to faith, and sometimes that will connect also to other needs. And so one of the real challenges is ensuring that part of being dealt with dignity and respect is ensuring that your faith is recognised in all aspects of your care. So that's one of the real challenges. I think one of the great opportunities we have is that we have a workforce across aged care that is predominantly multicultural, particularly and it's possibly more diverse at times than other parts of our community. So we have a great opportunity to tap into a workforce that is caring and empathetic, but we need to ensure that there's a good spread of skills and capacities across all services, so that you can be heard, and that you can and that your cultural requirements and dietary requirements are treated with care and respect. So I think it's great that the CIC are engaging on this, because your community already would have an understanding of where the challenges particularly are in Canberra, and what we can do better, and how we can actually provide that advice to a number of our key providers who are doing really good jobs across the region, but also to provide that advice to government. So congratulations on running this thought-provoking seminar, and I look forward to hearing some of the feedback and the questions and the challenges. And I'll have to admit, anyone who dealing with my aged care online is a challenge. I found that difficult myself with my parents. I don't think that's unusual. If you do have any challenges, my office on Anketel Street in Tuggeranong is happy to provide assistance as well too. Thank you.
I'd like to also thank David for his time and coming up to present, and also acknowledge the land they're on as the Ngunnawal people, and pay our respects to them. I guess I'd also like to thank Arif. I know you're down the back there now, mate, but he's been instrumental in getting this off the ground. Really worked really hard in the background to really get this, support us as well, and you really help us out and get everything done Just a few things I'd like to start with. So we've got down the back is a table there, so we've got a question box also if anyone's got any questions or they don't feel comfortable talking in front of the group. We'll try and get every question answered, and if not, we'll respond to email to Arif and he can distribute if there's any extra answers. We've got some brochures and that. I'll keep it brief on my end because I would like to respect everybody's time. I know we're all busy. I'd like to hand off to the owner and director, Nisa, of Right at Home, ACT in Queanbeyan. And we've also got we're privileged to have the directors for ACT Canberra, Craig on the far right and Sean.
Thank you, Joshua. It is a privilege to be here to speak to you today. So, are you? Is that everyone able to hear me? Yeah. I'll start again. It is a privilege to be here today to speak to you. So, thank you. We love getting out into the community and speaking to our community members, and so this is a lovely opportunity to talk about how we can help you, but also about the My Aged Care system and the difficulty that we hear that people have, and we do too, of how to navigate My Aged Care and what that looks like. So today we're going to talk about commonly heard comments, home care services issues, supporting the Muslim community, available government funding, how we can help as a service provider, career pathways. We would like to have an opportunity to answer your questions. And as you were coming into the room today, you would have seen the tables up the back. We're going to have our directors and owners, the four of us, we're going to spread out the back. So if you do want to approach us later on when you're having something to eat, and you have some questions you'd like to ask us face to face, please do. We're here and we want to be available to have those individual conversations. Commonly heard comments. So when we're out and about and we're meeting the older generations in the community that might need some help, these are some common things that we do hear. I am fine, why do I need help? That one we see at times, our community members and our older generations, they've been doing many things for themselves for many, many years. And so at times when you're living in the moment, it can be really hard to see that there could be things that could come in, supports that could come in and complement that independence that you have already. So at times it might be good to have a chat with services such as Right at Home around what are the things that we can help with. It could be something like vacuuming the floors might take some pressure off. It doesn't have to be intense supports around personal care. It could just be those little things that help. We do see many members of our community. We have a lot of proud community members, and I love that about Canberra. But sometimes it is hard to reach out and ask for help. It's all too hard and complex for me. Yes, we get this quite often. The My Aged Care system can be very hard to navigate, but there are supports available to navigate that system. We are always available and willing to have chats about the My Aged Care system and to help advocate. I don't want to leave my home. That's a very commonly heard comment. And I think that that's so understandable. Why would you want to leave your home when your home is where you're comfortable and you're happy? It's where you've, possibly raised your family. And so I think it's really important that home care is available to everyone. And staying at home has its benefits. I think home care and being able to support you to remain in home for as long as possible is really crucial for our community. And how do I get help? That's what we're going to cover today. So home care service issues. The top one, hidden fees and charges undisclosed by providers. This is something that we quite often speak about in the community. Quite often they're not undisclosed, they are disclosed, but the information that you receive from service providers can be very overwhelming. And so one of the things that we talk about often is to consider care hours. So if you have been allocated a package and you're looking to determine who you want to get services from, it's around looking at how many care hours would I have in my home if I was to choose this provider. And what that helps you to do is to see what value you're getting out of your package. With a package, and we'll go over this in more detail, there's certain fees that home care providers can charge. They're called care management fees, package management fees, and a daily basic fee. Not all of these are mandated, so different services will charge different fees. And so a way to navigate that is to look at how many care hours, what is it that I can actually receive from this service provider, because if they do have those large fees that are often not disclosed transparently, that will drain a package and it will mean that you have less face-to-face supports. Constantly changing allocated times. So we understand that when you are receiving services, that there's certain times that will work for you. And as service providers, it should be our role to work around the times that do work for you. One of the things I will often say to people is, I'm not going to send out a carer at a time that doesn't work. We listen and we try to make sure that we're able to attend at a time that suits you. So if someone, say, is receiving personal care and they like to have a shower in the afternoon, we as a service provider are not going to send out someone to give you a shower at 7 a.m. So it's around making sure that those allocated times that suit you, that you're working with a service provider that actually is willing to do that. Services not delivered on specified times. So at times there could be service providers that will give you a time range rather than we will be there at 10 a.m. They might say we will be there from 2 to 4. I don't agree with this. I think that's not very fair. I think for people and to get the best services possible, to have an exact time, I think is probably the goal in terms of what we want to provide. We don't want people to be waiting a day for services to pop up. We want it to complement how you have your routines through your day, not turn up whenever it suits us as a service. It's more around client-driven, care plans and client-driven supports. And so that also means turning up at a time that is suitable for our clients. There's also mentioned on this slide, different care worker on each visit. This is a common thing that we do here. There is, a shortage in staff, and so at times people do get sick. We try our utmost to make sure that there is a carer that you feel comfortable with, that you have built rapport. And so we also try to put things in place that there's a regular backup person. So if your main carer isn't able to attend, the person that steps into that role, there's also that rapport and comfortability. I think that's really important. If it's someone different each shift, that ability to feel comfortable with those services, I think gets lost. Supporting the Muslim community. So we have been part of conversations with Arif. We stand here willing to listen. Our ears and eyes are open. We do not know everything, and so it's our role to say, hey, how can we support your community? We want to support your community, and so it's that willingness to listen and learn from your wonderful community. We do a personalised care plan, so develop a care plan that meets your beliefs and preferences. Provide Muslim carers when available. So we are very open to hearing from community members that would like to work in this space. We would absolutely love that. We have a particular recruitment process that we follow for each person coming through that. And that makes sure that we're adhering to not only what's mandated by the government, but also so that we're able to provide that high quality care. So that includes mandatory first aid, mandatory CPR, national police check, working with vulnerable people. There's certain checks that we have in place to make sure that we're able to say with 100% confidence, yes, we feel comfortable with our staff going into people's homes. And so if there are community members that are willing to go through that recruitment process, we would love to meet them, and we welcome applications. Continuous improvement. So at Right at Home, we love feedback. That means that we're able to listen and hear what we could do differently. There are particular things that the government puts forward that we must follow, but there's other things that we can be flexible with and work around. And so there's that willingness from our service to do that. And so feedback is a crucial part of that. We want to hear what we could do better, and we want to strive to do the best care that we can do out in the community. Employment, similar to what I was just speaking about in terms of Muslim carers, there's an opportunity for Muslim workers in aged care. I think that's really important. And we would love to hear from those that would like to apply for a position. Availability. Our service is contactable 24/7. That is really important. You know, not all families have the ability to call up and ask questions during the day. Sometimes people work full time, and so we'll take calls after business hours, but it also means we're available for clients on weekends, during the night. We're there for feedback, we're there to support, and it also means we're supportive of our teams. If our teams are out in the community and doing work, we're right there ready to support them if needed. Available government funding. So you might hear the term CHISP. That refers to Commonwealth Home Support Program. That's an entry-level home support program that helps people live independently in their home. There's also HCP, which is the home care package. This program supports older people with complex care needs to live independently in their home. And there's package levels, so there's packages 1 to 4. So 1 is more entry level, 4 is if someone has more complex needs. And then there's also NDIS, which is for people or children, anyone living with a disability that is able to be approved by the NDIS. And so this is supporting people and anyone living with a disability in Australia. So there's different ways that an NDIS plan would be managed. So there's self-managing and plan managing. So with self-managed, you would control your NDIS plan and the support you require. With plan managed, you would have a plan manager and a support coordinator working alongside you to make sure you're getting the best out of your package. So the Commonwealth Home Support Program, CHISP, you must be over 65. This is accessed through applying through My Aged Care. When you call My Aged Care, you would say that you're requiring some supports, you would like to be assessed. They then would book you an assessor to come out and see you. The Commonwealth Home Support Program is really entry-level supports. So if you are needing more than 1.5 to 2 hours basic help during the week, I would really recommend for you to be asking for a home care package. So we do see that some people will have a Commonwealth Home Support Program, and what that tends to look like, the paperwork that would come out to you would have a list of different codes and a list of different providers. Those providers are meant to call and say, hi, we've received your code, would you like us to come out to see you? Unfortunately, what we're seeing in the community is that people are not receiving those calls and they're needing to chase the services, and quite often the CHISP services have no availability to do those services. And so we are seeing a pattern of people that have CHISP that have no services but haven't been deemed suitable for the home care packages. So a lot of the support that we're doing at the moment is talking with people about how to get a home care package and how to advocate for that next level of support. A home care package, so it must be over the age of 65, and this is through My Aged Care. So applying through My Aged Care, there's the website, which is the My Aged Care website. You can also phone, so probably the best way is to phone. Our service does go out and visit people and help people phone My Aged Care to get that started. Another way to apply through My Aged Care is through a GP referral. So if you have a regular GP that you visit, they can apply and put through an application on your behalf. And at times we have seen that be quite successful. My Aged Care will then book an ACAT assessor. And the ACAT assessor, they're usually GPs, nurses, they're people part of our community. They will come out and see you. That appointment with the ACAT assessor is really, really important. I think as people, we can downplay certain things. I know I do that myself. If I'm hurt, I'll say, no, it's nothing. But when you see your ACAT assessor, it is really important to highlight the things that you are struggling with. Because if you don't mention the things that you do need, they will assess you lower needs. And so you could end up with Commonwealth Home Support Program rather than a home care package. So when they come out, it's really important to have a list of things, a list of if you have health conditions, if you have needs, if you've had a recent falls trip. These are things that will highlight to an ACAT assessor that you need a home care package. Unfortunately, once the ACAT assessor has come to see someone, it can take 6 to 12 months for an assessment. So before the ACAT assessor comes to see you, it can take 6 to 12 months for an assessor to come out. So if you are thinking about getting supports, it might be really beneficial to do it sooner rather than later. And if you are, say, on a lower home care package level, that's great, because once you're on that level and you have a service provider, we can then apply to have your level increased. So sometimes it's better to have a level 2 and have some supports, because then if you do suddenly need more supports in the home, that can happen a lot sooner than if you're not engaged with My Aged Care at all. So once you've been assessed, you'll receive a letter, and this letter will let you know what level you were assessed as needing. So it might say that you were assessed as a level 2. This letter will also then tell you that you have been placed on the national priority system. So it's an ACAT assessor will come see you, you'll receive a letter stating what level, then you'll go onto a priority system. That priority system is meant to take up to 3 months. Once you've been allocated your package, there'll be a second letter that comes out, and this letter is the letter that lets you know you have your package ready to go, and it will give you a red code. It will be written in red, and that will be your code that you provide to your service provider that you'd like to go with. It is incredibly confusing, but I basically say keep in mind that there's 2 letters. If you ever have documentation that come through from My Aged Care and you need some assistance in understanding it, we can always pop out and have a read and say, oh, this is what this is, which is what we do quite often. NDIS, available up to 64 years old. The application is through the NDIS website. The application requires medical specialist documentation. It can be a difficult process, and it's assessed on means basis. So not all disabilities are covered under the NDIS, unfortunately. But if you are looking at accessing NDIS, we're also happy to help you with that application process. How we will help you. So we offer free in-home visits, and we help people navigate My Aged Care at any time. So if you are wanting to do this, we're happy to come visit you and talk it through. We can help you come up with a plan, a list of key points to bring forward when you see your ACAT assessor. It can be helpful having those key points in front of you so that you're remembering what you want to say to them. We can also be present when an assessor comes. We can monitor the client application status. So once you have been approved, if you would like Right at Home to be a support person, we can keep an eye on that status for you and let you know once the application has gone through. And we ensure funding meets changing client needs. So once you are linked into a service provider, the service provider takes a key role in making sure that the what the supports you're receiving meets your need. So if you need a higher level, it's then our role to really advocate with My Aged Care and provide that evidence as to why. Career pathways. So the baseline for working in home care is your Certificate 3 in Individual Support and Ageing and Disability. There are traineeships available. If this is something that community members are really keen to do, we would love to hear from you. The course can be finished within a year, and there are placement hours as part of the course, which is really great because you get that hands-on experience. There is some government funding available, and there's further opportunities. I myself started out in this sector as a carer, and it was an amazing role when I finished college, and I've worked my way through, so there's definitely lots of opportunities. There's pathways into studying nursing, so if you are interested in a Cert 3, the opportunities in the future I think are really cool. We are committed, and I mean that, we are committed to provide culturally appropriate Muslim-focused in-home aged care support, and we want to work closely with the Muslim community. And we invite those that would like to speak with us to contact us to discuss your needs. We are, open to hearing what we could do to make home care suitable for your family. And we look forward to hearing from you and working very closely with your wonderful community. My mum up the back there has just passed around a box. It's pink, so it's very bright, but if you have any questions and you don't want to ask them in the group environment, please feel welcome to jot down a question and pop it in the box and we can make sure that that's answered. Okay, thank you everyone. Yeah. So now we invite everyone to have sorry, Arif, is there anyone else that will speak?
No, that's about it.
Okay.
We want everybody to ask you questions.
Yeah, so I might open it up for questions now, but if you would like to ask a private question, you're welcome to utilise the box. Yeah. Yeah. That's okay, no worries. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Canberra Islamic Centre, and thank you for the honour to recite just few verses from the Holy Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حملته أمه وحنا على وحن وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير. And we have enjoined upon man care for his parents. His mother carried him in weakness upon weakness, and his weaning is in 2 years. Be grateful to me and to your parents. To me is the final destination. وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا واتبع سبيل من أناب إلي ثم إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. But if they endeavor to make you associate with me that of which have no knowledge, do not obey them, but accompany them in this world with appropriate kindness and follow the way of those who turn back to me in repentance. then to me will be your return, and I will inform you about what you used to do. صدق الله العظيم. جزاكم الله خير.
Thank you. Did anyone have any questions that they would like to ask? Yes.
I understand from one of your slides that you would provide Muslim carers to those who are Muslim. Right. I'm just wondering the kind of training, apart from them being Muslim, do you provide knowledge, anything training to the others who are not Muslim?
We think that staff training is incredibly important. And so from the feedback from this session, we will be having some staff training sessions. But there are mandatory training that all our staff do around like being culturally appropriate. And I believe as part of a Cert 3, there would be some topics covered around being culturally appropriate. If we had a Muslim family that were interested in engaging services with us, we would have, like as an owner, I would go and visit with the family and ask them other key things that they would like our carers to be aware of. I would then personally share that information with our carers so that they're across that. Yeah, no worries. Hello. That is the magic question, and I wish I knew the answer. Unfortunately,
because if someone is urgently needing it right away, then suddenly you have to wait for.
It's a real problem.
Yep, so the question is, why does it take so long once you've registered with My Aged Care? Why does it take so long to have someone come out and do an assessment? This is something that we face every day in this work. There are ways to really advocate the urgent need, and that it does involve calling My Aged Care. There are ways for us to say this, this person really does need care. In terms of why it takes so long, I think there's a lot of need for assessments, but I think it's really up to the government to put funding into having more ACAT assessors. It is a bit of an issue, yeah. Thank you for your question. Yes?
Just a comment on that. So it's ever so important that you register even before you're sick.
Yeah, exactly.
I might just repeat that because I love that. I think that's a really important note, to register before you're sick. So even if it's just some entry level supports, it could be some domestic assistance, it could be some transport. If you could register early and have that in place, then if you are sick, if your needs increase, it's easier to get that in place and a quicker turnaround than if you're starting from the initial phase of engaging with My Aged Care. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate your input.
Some of us contact aged care and we said we don't need anything except some social activity and things like that. And they give us a number. Is that considered like an entry, or that is something like CHSP? Like when I mean, some of us have numbers that we already like register, but not to. Actually, I was assessed over the phone because it's not, and they give me a number and I can do some social activities and things, and they compensate or something like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that considered a kind of registration that when I really need help, it will make it easier?
Potentially. So I'll repeat the question. It's around registering and then being provided with a number, and then that's a number that could help with some social support. That number, so when you do register, you'll get an account number. That's your My Aged Care number. But if it then comes with a phone assessment and they give you like a code, and that's the code to access the supports, that would be the CHISP, so the Commonwealth Home Support Program. That's the entry-level program. So I think it's beneficial that you are connected, so that's good. but it would be the process of trying to transfer to a home care package, and that would be requesting through My Aged Care a further assessment. But it's better than having nothing in place. Yeah, thank you for your question. Is there any, hi?
My question is actually, me and my husband applied and we were first entry level, right? We were given some about hours or something. And we were given a list of providers. And we were told you have to wait long time. So, and I said, how much? They said, it depends upon the provider. So, I don't know how much I have to pay. I don't know when I'll get someone after calling. So I'm frustrated.
I hear you, and I feel that frustration. I truly do. I feel it on a daily basis. That sounds like the Commonwealth Home Support Program, and you will be given a list of providers. Those providers, when you get a code and they've sent it to a provider, it is meant to be their role to call you and activate those services. That unfortunately doesn't happen very often. Yeah. Yeah, and it does depend, I think, on the service as well and what they charge. What we can do is I'm always happy to sit with you and call some of those services and ask those questions. It really is around calling each one and saying, I've got this code, do you have availability? And if they do have that availability, then it's asking them to come out and meet you and activate those services. In terms of Commonwealth Home Support Program, I haven't seen a huge amount charged. So I recently supported this week somebody who was accessing transport code through the CHISP, and I think they were paying around $11 a day for that service. So it depends on the service. With the home care package, and why it's really important to advocate if you think that you have more needs, is you don't get codes, you'll get one code and you go to one service provider, we are a service provider, and it's the service provider's responsibility to come and sit with you and say, this is what your package is, this is the amount, these are the services, and then we oversee that. We make sure that you're getting all all your needs covered. We come up with a budget, it's very transparent, and it's one person that you have to deal with, not all these different services and different codes. So there is benefit in having a home care package if you can.
Perhaps.
Oh, sorry, I'm just going to cross over to Craig.
Just also perhaps it's worth pointing out the flexibility of a home care package. It's not just transport, cleaning. It's whatever you think you need. So it's much more flexible. It's worth looking into for the long term.
So, and that's a lovely point, thank you, Craig. So as a service, we provide anything from domestic assistance, personal care, social support, all the way through to skilled nursing. So Chon here is a registered nurse. Our team also has a care coordinator nurse. So with your home care package, you can choose what services you want to have as part of your home care package, and then we as the service provider send you invoices and show you where your package is at. So it is I feel like it's a more transparent service, having the home care package. Yeah. Hi. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah.
We listen.
With that sounded very much like residential nursing homes were having some issues. With in-home care, we can tailor, like if you're wanting food and needing food supports, we can tailor that to suit the halal needs. Yeah. 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 I think there's a real pattern of people being afraid of what they don't know. So what I'm hearing is education is really key. So and we hear what you're saying. So thank you for sharing. I think it's definitely room for improvement on being willing and able and educated around the food requirements. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to ask a question? We're going to go up the back. So if you'd like to come and approach us, you're very welcome to. Yeah.
Maybe it may not be very big for you because you say you don't do residential cancer. My friend recently moved and I visited her. It's the first class in we fiber center sort of accommodation. And everything in the room. And she's sitting in the corner, so isolated, so lonely. And I found that in all the programs that they are TV episodes, whatever, mainstream Australian culture, people are used to raise this place.
Yeah.
I don't know it. And later on my friend who did work, cutting dish and all those things. If I were asked to play all the in my 80s, I would enjoy. I would like to play my doo and kind of what I learned in my childhood, right? My friend is so lonely, I found her. I just felt it's a prison, even first class hotels, high hotels. This sort of, and they're paying a lot. This sort of residential care, I don't want for you.
I hear
We
you.
want our own people around. I don't mean discriminate. You know what? Culture is also, or not any other sense. That can be white, black, blue, whatever. But it's my people who understand and share my culture, my life.
Yeah, my heart breaks for your friend. That does sound very isolating, and I think advocating with the residential teams, if you have the ability to, yeah. And I think that's the benefit of home care and getting those supports in home, because then you are in your space, you are in a place that you feel comfortable, and you're surrounded by potentially family and friends and your community. So if we can support to remain in your home, I think that would be really key for a lot of people to feel welcome and supported. Yeah, thank you.
Just want to say that all the Muslim seniors of Canberra, at the next meeting in our agenda, we would have an information session on how to register. So anybody needs help, we'll have somebody who knows how to register. And for membership, please see Sister Aisha. Sister Aisha, do you want to? Yeah, please see her because she has the forms and everything. Thank you.
Thank you. We might spread up to the back, and if you want to ask us any questions or just speak with us, you're very welcome to. And thank you, Arif, and everyone for having us. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you. With the box, I'll probably just draft up an email
Yeah.
for all
Yeah.
the responses.
Maybe just check if there's anything in it.
So just want to say we'll just split up into 4 tables. And,
Yeah.
Anyone who wants to pray, they can go to the mosque and pray. Thank you. And thank you for coming. I hope it was beneficial, but we are going to have more of these sessions through the year, okay? Because there is a big demand for it. Thank you very much.